What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, it's that time of the week again where we get you ready for the weekend with a brand new coil build. So I'm getting ready to head down to Hotlanta for Vape Showcase, but this shows up in the mail today. This is the Mike Vapes and Vandy Vapes project, the Icon RDA, and this is definitely going to be one that I bring down with me. So I felt like, you know, what better time to put a build in it than do it for Fresh Build Friday. But with that, I was just really looking forward to getting my hands on this thing. I'm excited to mess around with a new build deck. It's something that I haven't really seen before. It's definitely unique looking from what I've seen on Instagram and all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and get right to it. These are going to be some simple spaced coils today. I just want to throw a basic build in here. And I've been doing this on a couple of my other RDAs that I've been building on recently. And it works great, so I figure why not just, you know, don't mess with success and just put it in this thing as well. So let's go ahead and grab our mod, our wick, our addy, our wire, our juice, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, so here it is, the Icon RDA, a Mike Vapes project with Vandy Vape. He came out with this guy here. This is the Icon. And yeah, it's pretty damn cool looking, and I really am excited to build on it. I got this in today, so yeah, this is going to be an adventure for you and I both. Look forward to my full review on this thing in the very near future, of course, but until then, I just wanted to throw a build on it. Today we're going to be using some of this here. This is Nichrome 90 23 gauge by Mad Rabbit. Now, not everybody out there is going to have you know, access to this stuff here, but this type of build will work with pretty much anything. You know, I strongly recommend using a slightly lower resistance wire like Nichrome or stainless or something like that, but you can literally use anything. If you want to use Kanthal, then absolutely. It's just basically a technique, more or less, rather than, you know, strictly the only thing you can build it with. But so I'm going to take about a foot and a half of this stuff. That's probably a little bit too much, and just kind of guess where the middle part is here. Yeah, I did cut a little bit too much wire, but you know what? Too much is better than not enough. So now that I have my 2 strands of wire, we'll bring in our jig here. Actually, I'm going to move my mod out of the way. So this is the jig with a 3mm bit on it. You know, it's pretty much my standard 3mm. I really like 3mm. It's just the right size for pretty much any build that I like doing. So, and today I'm actually going to use the appropriate end piece for the bit. Basically, if you're actually using this piece here, if you are using a jig, then go really, really light on it if you want to do parallels, and just kind of let the wire wrap around itself. So I'm actually going to get these started just a little bit, giving it kind of a half a turn there before I get the bit on here. So let's see, we're going to do 10 wraps today. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. And now the next step we're going to do is just kind of straighten out our leads as much as we possibly can. This is kind of the tricky part because you have to actually separate these coils here from one another. So you want to just identify which one goes to which piece of wire here. And this Nichrome 90 is extremely, you know, very, very, very flexible and bendy and malleable. So you just want to kind of not force it, but just kind of get these leads going at the same time. That will definitely help start this process here. And if you end up unwrapping half a wrap or something like that, it's not a big deal. Just keep it going with one steady motion, and they'll start to loosen up after you get about a wrap or 2 in here. So, continuing on, let's just get these coils separated. Alright, so here is the result of our coil making process. I have 2 perfectly spaced 10 wrap coils. Now, some of you use the screw method where you wrap around a screw to keep them nice and evenly spaced. personally, this is just the way I do it. You know, don't take this as this is the only way to do things kind of thing. It's just the way I prefer doing it. So use whatever method works for you. There we go. So the way I get my coils spaced, but I also want them a little bit, you know, not quite as wide as this. So what I normally do is just take my bit and just squish them. Just give them a quick squish like that. It kind of, you know, reduces the amount of space in between the coils, but still, it's still nice and even. So there we go. We have two perfectly even, perfectly spaced out coils, and we are looking really good here. So let's go ahead and bring in the RDA. All right, so let's get building here. We've got our posts loosened up, and we're just gonna pop our coil in. And this is a kind of a really unique designed RDA, because you have these big old post holes, and they're not separated off. They're actually open in between, so it's kind of a unique way to do it. And I think I'm gonna like this thing a lot, and you could definitely build some crazy coils in here. I'm really looking forward to what people come up with for this particular Addy here. I actually have a pretty cool idea for something to do a little bit later on down the line here, but I am leaving for Vape Showcase tomorrow, and I just wanted to get this thing all built so that, you know, I don't have to build anything while I'm there. And, you know, I just wanted to bring this along with me. So I just wanted to throw a cool build in there real quick. Now, one thing that I really like about this is, since you can trap each piece of wire individually, you can actually just snip off the excess before you install your other coil, thus, you know, eliminating a lot of stress. So there we go. That's one coil all down and ready to go. We've got our second coil here, which we're just going to thread on through. And this thing, as you can see, takes almost no time at all to set up, which is great. You know, it's one of those ones you can just throw a pretty basic, easy build on there, and it's going to work no problem, because the post holes are very generous. The screws are really nice and smooth on this thing, like zero problems with the threading. It seems a bit more rugged too than some of the other atomizers I've been using lately. Just kind of straighten everything out, pull it away from that block, just like that, and we can trim our excess wire. Alright, so everything looks pretty symmetrical, or as symmetrical as possible here. So I think we're ready for our low wattage test. I've got my mod set at 40 watts. And let's go ahead and fire these babies up. Just pulse, just barely, gently pulse. Once you start seeing the color, let off a little bit. Oh, there it is, that nice bright bluey purpley kind of color. When that comes out, these coils look absolutely stunning. So here we are, just continuing our low wattage test, and so far everything looks good to me. So I'm just going to turn up my mod here to about 70 watts. Ooh, a little too far. And we're going to do a quick little high wattage test just to make sure. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Pretty much as good as I feel like spaced coils are going to be. Just give it once over real quick. And of course, we triple check our screws here. So just make sure everything is good and tight. Sometimes, like, there we go. See? Right there. Little tiny bit loose there. That's why we check it. So, okay. Now that that's done, just gonna, let's see, put my bit back through one more time without firing it. Stretch it out a little bit. Like that. Alright. Fire it up once more. Yep. Looks good to me. So, I think we are ready to wick it. All right, it is the moment of truth. My mod is set at 100 watts here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but let's go ahead and give this one a shot. Yep, she vapes. All right, let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on it, and we'll talk about this some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the build section of the video. Now let's talk about the coils that we just put in this thing. So first and foremost, it came out to 0.13 ohms. I'm vaping at 100 watts at 3.61 volts. Now, that is a bit on the lower side. I could definitely crank this thing up a little bit more. However, since I have it on the Predator 228, I wanted to kind of save my batteries a little bit by not going overboard on the voltage or wattage. But you can set the preheat function to this thing. I like doing it around 150 when I like to vape at 100 watts. So with that, you get that instant jolt of power, and then it's ramped up right away. There's no waiting time between, you know, firing this thing up and it's producing massive amounts of vapor. So with that, I do have that setting off currently. I might actually throw it on real quick, but until then, the heat on this thing is manageable. It's definitely on the kind of upper echelon of the warm to hot side, I guess. It's kind of like the just that butter zone, you know, when you get that just perfect amount of heat. I have the airflow set wide open, and I have no problem with the airflow on this thing. I can actually see light all the way through to the other side, which is great. So with that, it's getting plenty of airflow to the coils, which is keeping it on the relatively cool side, but it's that nice kind of warm to hot kind of vape that I like so much. All right, so for my next category, which is the ramp up and ramp down time, I just set the preheat function for 150 watts at 0.3 seconds. So for that, I'm expecting very, very little ramp up time, but let's go ahead and take a drag off of this thing and we'll check out the ramp down time. So just as I suspected, the ramp up time is very, very minimal. Honestly, if you are someone that purges through your RDA for a split second before you take your inhale, there's going to be absolutely zero ramp up time. As far as the ramp down time concerned, however, it's a little bit longer than I would have expected, especially with spaced coils. I feel like that kind of reduces the amount of heat overall, but I tend to get a little bit more ramp down time than I thought I would, about 4 to 5 seconds here, but it's not that like really scorching hot ramp down time where you can tell the coils are really, really hot still. It's just kind of that mellow sizzle until it just kind of dies away. But with that, there is a significant amount of ramp down time. Moving on to my next category, we have the difficulty of this build. Now, this one is really, really easy. Anyone out there should be able to do this build, whether you do it with the screw method where you wrap it around a screw and then unthread the screw, or you do it my style where you wrap a parallel coil and then basically just separate the two of them. But any which way you want to do a space coil, as long as it comes out nice and even, then you are good to go. You're golden for this one here. But I feel like everyone should be able to do this build out there. This is one of the easiest ones I've ever done on this channel. And for my final category, which is the flavor, I am pleasantly surprised by the flavor that I get off of this one. Now, I would say it's kind of near any standard stainless steel wire build that I normally do. I wouldn't say it's quite up to par with a Fuse Clapton, but it's pretty darn close. Now, the flavor that I'm vaping today is Vape Parfait's Strawberry by Vapetasia. This is their new one, and oh my god, it is amazing. I normally don't go for that kind of flavor, but I really get that nice strawberry yogurt inhale, and then after you get that cream and that kind of granola-y flavor kind of mixing together in there. A lot of little subtle, delicate notes that I'm finding, and yeah, just really, really happy with the performance with these coils here. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Of course, you can click on that notification bell right next to the subscribe button if you want to be alerted whenever I upload videos. That way you can be amongst the first people to check out my Fresh Build Friday videos and my other reviews. Also, leave me some comments in the box below about what you think of this build, or if you have a suggestion for a future episode of Fresh Build Friday, just drop it on down there. Also, check out the advocacy and my social media links in the description below. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and as always, vape on!